if there are any occupied vehicles parked in the parking lot or on the street around the building. The security officer should note the description of that vehicle and the license number for future reference. In some cases, just the occupant seeing the security officer take that information can eliminate what might become a potential illegal act. The security officer should keep a small notebook with them at all times to write down what they observe. The security officer should list locations where lights are burned out, list locations where coffee pots have been left on, where computer equipment has been left on, locations where water was left running, and any other unusual occurrences. Then, at the end of the row, based on the notes taken, the security officer should write a security officer report to explain to the client and the supervisors what is happening on the site. Do not let anything get by unreported. The great value of keen observation to the client is to let them know what has been happening in their building while they are not on the premises.
Why don't you go down
The client will know who is causing damage or potential damage without the security officer naming a person. The client can then take corrective action based on the log reports and the security officer reports. To law enforcement, good observation means good reports with dates, exact times, good descriptions, license numbers, and factual statements of who, what, when, where, and how. To the security officer's agency, it means a job well done and a satisfied client. The professional security guard is a professional observer. Remember these points. 1. Stay alert. 2. Be visible. 3. Be mobile. 4. Use all your senses. 5. Notice the unusual. 6. Pay attention to detail. 7. Take good notes. And 8. Maintain log entries.
We are now going to take an in-depth look at report writing. Like it or not, this is something you will be doing a lot of in your everyday life as a security officer. This segment is being presented by Jeff Kirby, a graduate of the Basic Police Reserve Academy and a local security business owner for many years. Jeff was instrumental in getting this new security officers law passed in our state during the 3 years he served as president of the Washington State Security Council. Now, I would like to remind you once again to rewind and replay any segment or any portion of this tape to make sure you completely understand all of the information.
Report writing. Why is everyone talking about how important it is? How come many security officers lose their job every day for not understanding just how important report writing is? I'm a manager, and like your manager, we read thousands of reports every year. What we're going to help you to understand today is how to write a good, basic report. To write a report that's easy to read, provides the information necessary for management to act upon and make a decision as to just what happened during the course of your shift. I'm going to help you understand today how to win with that report. Your report, in fact, is a report card. It's the only way management can see how concerned you are about your job and just how well you are or are not doing it. Reports have been around since the dawn of mankind. From etchings of stone on tabloids to the writing in cave walls. Whenever man felt it important to communicate, he wrote a report. In fact, you see reports every day. The 5 o'clock news on television, when you read the newspaper. Shop tickets, when you get your car repaired. Parking tickets. Depositions in court. When something's important, we must document it. So today we'll be looking at just exactly what a report is, the do's and don'ts of proper report writing, and we'll summarize so that you get a good basic understanding of how to write the report that is going to make up a good majority of your job. Report writing is something you have to know how to do a professional job in your new career as a security officer. Every professional career that you can choose today requires the use of tools. Tools such as hammers, nails, ladders, and so forth, or tools such as a report. What we're going to talk about now is how to use this tool called a report. R-E-P-O-R-T. P-O-R-T. I'd like you to picture in your mind's eye, you're about to write your first security report. Think of the word itself, report. It stands for more than what you know it does right now. We're going to look at that. Let's take a look. R, your report must be readable. It must get the information across in a clear manner. It must be easy to understand. It must be something that your manager is proud to read in the morning about what your activities that were conducted last night. E, your report must educate. It must educate the reader in exactly what took place during the course of your shift. What kind of information did you find from the beginning to the end of your shift? And is it clear? Is it precise? Does it present the information that your manager needs to understand to get a full education about that shift as if he was there with you? P, P should provide all information and provide it in detail. If you find an open door, it's not enough just to put down that you found it. You must put down what you did about it. You must provide all of the details. Providing the details would mean a conclusion. You found an open door, you were able to secure it, or you were unable to secure it. What did you do next? Did you contact building management? Did you contact your supervisor? And what was the conclusion of that information? You provide all of the details so that the reader knows exactly what you're talking about. O, organize. Before you sit down to write your report, organize just exactly what you're going to say. Organize it in chronological events. Your report must provide the information from the time you began a certain event or task right through and up to its conclusion. So think about what you're going to write in your mind. Organize it before you begin to write it, and your report will come out much better. Once you've written your report, R, review the information. Every professional reviews his work. He looks at it again and again to make sure that there are no misspelled words and that the information is provided clearly and organized and gives what the writer wants the reader to understand. So review your work. And if you do find something that is misspelled, we're all human beings. Draw one line through it and then put its correction right next to it. Being a human being, we understand that you'll make a mistake. When we see what the mistake is, it's acceptable. But do not use whiteout. Do not scratch it out. It merely puzzles the reader to try to establish what is this officer trying to hide from me. So remember, one line through when you catch an error. T. T stands for truth. Every report is a document. It absolutely must completely tell the truth. It is a document in which you are submitting in request for pay. It is a proof of the job that you've performed. You cannot interpret your personal opinions in it. You must report only facts. It has to be the truth. So when you review your report, make sure that the truth comes out and everything is accurate. So let's look at some don'ts. Don'ts in report writing can also be summarized in the same fashion. Wrong. W-R-O-N-G. Let's explore the W. Most commonly, reports are written illegibly. The officer is either not concerned enough about his work or does not have good penmanship and is not attempting to practice to write good penmanship. Each of us can write better if we take the time to do so. Your report is a document that may be referenced at any time, the next day, years from now, and it can be looked at with a microscope. So be clear and write legible reports. R. Reports personal opinions. You cannot provide personal opinions in your report. You must provide only the facts. So never report a personal opinion. O. Omissions or gaps. Time spans that are left out in your report. Inconclusive information. Names of people that do not contain identification or how you acquired their identification. Put down if it's a state driver's license, a student body card, however it is someone you're talking about in the report, do not omit or leave gaps puzzling the reader. There's nothing more frustrating for your manager to review your report, then to find it's not conclusive. And then he has to get on the phone, or she, or get a hold of you. Or the client has to get a hold of your boss. And the circle starts. So don't fall into that gap by starting with an omission. Always put down all of the facts, and always be sure to sign your report. G, gone. The officer's gone. He forgot to leave a report, took it home with him, didn't think it was really important enough to provide that information. Mistakes will happen. If this happens to you, immediately call your supervisor and arrange for a time you can return that report, because it has to be left there on a daily basis. What we're going to do from this point is look at some actual field reports, some daily logs that security officers have made. We're going to look at some of their goods and some of their bads. And from there, I hope you'll learn more about the true do's and don'ts in report writing. Hi, were you paying attention? Was there an omission in the last segment you just saw? Did you review your report properly? Maybe not. Let's look at that. We covered the word wrong, W-R-O-N-G. But we did not cover the letter N for not complete. Be sure you do not make that mistake. This is a little reminder that when you're looking at something, it is not always what it seems. So review and check to make sure that you don't make the mistake that's not complete. So let's move on now. Well, how did you do in our last little test? I hope you fared well. We have some reports here, what your manager goes through every day. The shifts are complete, and we're going to look at some of the new security officers that we've hired to do the job of report writing. Let's pretend that one of these are you, and you pick out the report that you'd like to turn into your boss. For the purposes of this demonstration, we've blown them up a little bit larger than their average size, but I think the point you'll see comes out pretty clear as to what many of them may be lacking. As we look at these reports, what I'd like you to do is to decide which one of them would best relate to you. Which of these reports that you're going to see in a moment would you like to be responsible for turning in to your supervisor at the end of your shift? Now let's remember some more basics about report writing. There's things that every letter, every newspaper, every broadcast, every report has to contain. It's critical and essential. If it does not contain these certain elements, what happens is it leaves the reader completely puzzled, frustrated, and looking for the answers that are not contained within the report. These things are who, what, where, when, how, and sometimes why. Let's talk about who for a moment. Who must be shown in both capacities. Who is talking and who they are talking about. If you're getting ID from someone, like we spoke about earlier, you must put down the source of that ID and the full name and title of that person if you so know it. Title could be building manager or it could be suspected trespasser. You must write down their name and the source of the ID you receive it from. What? What brought it to your attention? How did you become alert of a certain situation that led you to investigate it? What was it about that situation that continued your investigation? What is important about that investigation you're doing and detecting information on that makes it necessary to include it in your report? Where? This is a place where many of us as security officers need a lot of training. Where has to be placed in the report so it shows exactly what location you were on property. Were you at the north end of a parking lot in a certain stall number when the report you're writing about actually happened? Were you on a certain floor, a certain suite level? Were you immediately out front of the building? Well, what is immediate? Were you 10 feet from the front door? Were you 20? What is your best approximation? When? That's pretty obvious. The time that it took place, the time you first became aware of it. When is it taking place also includes the conclusion of the time when that event is over. How? How did you become aware of the certain situation? Was it a telephone call? Was it smell? Was it sound? Did someone let you know about it? Who let you know about it? That's very important in the how. You must include that in every report. Why? Very difficult subject to define.